Welcome to the summer of yes. It's a wild one. At least in most places in the U.S., almost everything that we had to say no to last summer because of COVID is open this summer. Concerts, camps, sports, beaches, the pool, even Disneyland. We can fly on airplanes, eat at restaurants, have family reunions, and hallelujah, hang out with friends. At least for us, since we could say yes, we did say yes. I signed up my kids for all the things: swim team, mountain bike team, tennis team, soccer camps, basketball camp, whitewater rafting, and church camps. This, despite my resolve last summer that I was going to learn from the summer of no. Stop overscheduling, embrace lazy summer days with nothing to rush to sleep in as long as we wanted, to fill the days with family hikes and bike rides and weekend trips to the mountains. The biggest contrast between these two summers is that last year was all about family activities, and this year is about shuttling everyone here and there to a bunch of individual activities. Maybe we'll equilibrate next year and combine the lessons we learned from our COVID and post-COVID summers. Find that happy balance between family time and rugged individualism, somewhere between Huck Finn and Fast and Furious. This is the How She Moms podcast with Whitney Archibald. I'm a mother of 5 on a mission to help moms connect with your kids, manage your homes, and create your own unique version of motherhood. I curate ideas from different moms so you can pick and choose what works for you and your family. It's time for the next installment of How Whitney Experiments. I do these episodes 3 times a year to update you on the new experiments we're trying here at the Archibald home. After this episode, there will be one more episode next week before I take my summer podcast break for July and August, and then I'll resume in September. The next episode is a great one: how Andrea Davis manages screen time. Andrea is a mom of 5 and the founder of a company called Better Screen Time that helps families manage technology. She has so many great ideas. I'm really excited to share our interview. Before I get started with the experiments, I want to take a moment to talk about one of this episode's sponsors, Baby Trend. Baby Trend's 2-in-1 convertible car seat might be exactly the seat you're looking for summer road trips, because it has a great sun canopy that works for both forward-facing and backward-facing positions, even all the way up to a booster seat, so you can stop hearing about the sun in your kids' eyes while you drive. It's really easy to adjust to all the different positions with clear diagrams right on the seat. It has an insert called the Comfort Cabin for the teeniest of babies and can adjust all the way up to 100 pounds. I love that it's so affordable at $149. But for How She Moms listeners, it's even more affordable. You can get 20% off when you buy it from babytrend.com and use the code COVERME20 with a capital C and capital M. If I had to name an overarching strategic level theme for this summer, I would call it the Summer of Passion. Not the hot mom summer or mom's gone wild kind of passion, but helping my kids figure out what they're passionate about. I talked to each one of them at the beginning of the summer to figure out at least one sport they wanted to work on, one musical project, and one thing they wanted to learn, from gardening to animating to cooking. So, as you heard in the intro, I planned our summer accordingly with lots of different activities for them to try. Most of the other experiments I'll talk about today lead back to that overarching goal, including the first one, our second annual neighborhood concert. We held our first neighborhood concert last year during quarantine, and everybody watched from their own driveways. This year, we decided to continue the tradition with a cul-de-sac concert on the last day of school. I invited all of the neighbors to participate in individual numbers, which several did, and I organized a couple of group numbers for the neighborhood kids. For my kids, the concert took the place of a recital. We had a full band set up in our driveway, and it was super fun. My kids were switching instruments and vocals and having a great time. Some went well, some kind of flopped, but we learned from all of them. I also learned a thing or two about timing. I must have had some kind of amnesia about how busy and burned out I always am in May. It was pretty darn crazy to plan and practice for the concert in May. We will surely do the concert again. It was a great way to come together as neighbors, but I think I'll shoot for August next year, a few weeks after school starts, so everyone will be in town, but we could practice and plan it over the summer instead of during school project season. The next experiment is a big one: food. One of the first problems to solve every summer is the whole kitchen food situation. Every year I search for the right equilibrium between a free-for-all, where the kids are in and out of the kitchen making big messes all day long, and structured menus and meal times. Of course, there are 2 issues here: the cooking and the cleaning. Breakfast is a no-brainer. With everyone waking up at different times, I don't cook breakfast in the summer except for rare occasions. So that's a free-for-all. Lunch is often a free-for-all as well, but sometimes that creates much more mess than if I just make one simple thing for everyone, like grilled cheese, spaghetti, or frozen tamales. Invariably, there's a child or two that doesn't like what I'm making, but I won't make more than one thing for lunch, so they have to figure out their own alternative if they don't like it. All of these cooks in the kitchen make for a considerable mess. Instead of having set breakfast and lunch times, our new experiment is to have set cleanup times. One at 11 o'clock and one at 2, and then one whenever dinner's over, the one meal we usually eat all together. That doesn't mean everyone comes in and cleans at the cleanup time. The times are more of a deadline. Every kid has until those times to get their assigned job done. If they don't, they pay either me or a sibling to do it for $1. I also rearrange the pantry at the beginning of each summer. This year, I put lunch foods on the lowest shelf so everyone can reach it easily, snacks for eating at home on the next one up, and then on-the-go snacks like applesauce pouches, bars, and fruit cups on the next. I tell the kids often that they're not allowed to eat the on-the-go snacks at home, so we'll have a good stock available for pool trips, hikes, and those times when we don't have time to sit down and eat between activities and have to take them in the car. That brings me to our next sponsor, Smart for Life. Smart for Life bars and protein cookies are one of our go-to snacks, especially on the way to a sports practice when we need a substantial protein-packed snack in a hurry. Of course, for us, a mostly gluten-free family, we appreciate that they have several good-tasting gluten-free options. They were originally designed as meal replacement bars, so they're filling and nutritious, perfect for those many days when I or the kids accidentally skip breakfast or lunch and need something quick. I also like that they're not as sweet as many of the bars out there. My favorite gluten-free flavor is Choco Crisp. You can use the code HowSheMoms with no spaces to get 20% off of your order. The next experiment is related to the last one. My 13-year-old Miles really likes to cook, so that's the topic he chose to learn more about this summer. So I decided to teach a regular cooking class for him. I've done this on and off in the past, but I wanted to do it more methodically this year and really bolster his skills. So I enlisted the help of my friend Molly, who wanted to do it with me, and we're switching off every Friday. We're working our way through a cookbook that changed my cooking life called The Science of Good Cooking, published by Cooks Illustrated. It breaks down the science of cooking into 50 very specific concepts, like gentle heat prevents overcooking, high heat develops flavor, salting vegetables removes liquids, and bloom spices to boost their flavor. Each concept starts with a one-page explanation of the science principles and then gives several different recipes that use that concept. I actually cooked my way through every recipe in the cookbook, or at least every gluten-free recipe, several years ago, and it took me 2 whole years to do it. I'm so much more confident in the kitchen because I did this. So we plan to do a concept a week for as long as we can keep it going, even after school starts. It helps to do it with friends. Sometimes my oldest son joins in too, just for the social aspect, although he has little to no interest in actual cooking. I'm hoping some of the skills rub off on him anyway. My younger 3 thought it looked like so much fun that they wanted their own class, so I teach them on the weeks that Molly teaches the older one, using a different book, Cooking School, from America's Test Kitchen, that I like for them because it has really good pictures. I invite different friends to join them each time. One bonus is that between the 2 classes, the kids cook dinner for the whole family every Friday night. And eventually, who knows, they may cook me right out of a job. Wouldn't that be great? My 11-year-old Abel decided this summer that he wanted to learn to animate and create videos. He bought himself a stylus and has been spending hours every day creating delightful animations, some of which I'll feature on Instagram this week. Because he's figuring out how to put audio and video together, he's also shown an interest in helping me with my podcast and has really great instincts for audio editing. So I've enlisted his help as my apprentice this summer, helping me edit episodes, including this one. He also plans to create more animations for me to go along with different episodes, and he's going to help me make Instagram Reels. It's such a fun thing for us to do together. My daughter wants to learn more about gardening and flowers, so we planted some flowers in our yard for Father's Day, and she bought some carrot and zucchini seeds. We also started going on wildflower hikes, where we bring a flower identification book, find the names of the flowers we see, and then she sketches them in a little book. It's been such a fun project to do together. Another experiment that will soon become a regular summer thing for us, now that my kids are getting older, is that my son has his first official summer job. He's teaching tennis for the city tennis program several hours a week, and he's loving the challenge and responsibility. And the cash, of course. It's a flexible job, so it's a nice first job. He's also going to host a Lego camp with a friend toward the end of the summer. It's fun for me to see him take responsibility and interact with his students. The next experiment is signing up for way too many sports this summer. I'm usually really careful not to overschedule, but this summer it's actually been really worth all the driving and all the complex carpool schedules because for the first time my kids are really excited and motivated about the sports they're doing. I don't have to drag them to practices or cajole them into the car. They're active and learning skills that will keep them active. My son and daughter even asked if they could go to both morning and afternoon swim practices, unheard of when they swam 2 years ago. Mountain bike team is a new addition that we're loving. We've always been a biking family. Our garage is ridiculously full of bikes, but their skills and motivation for going out on rides together has gone through the roof, and it makes me so happy. Plus, the younger kids and I have fun at the park during their practices, and my daughter and I play pickleball. My 6-year-old is the only one I didn't sign up for any summer sports, mostly because I want him to be free to participate in our amazing neighborhood culture of a 50s-style free-range childhood. We have a pack of about 8 boys from ages 4 to 9 that roam the cul-de-sac and go from house to house playing and thinking up games. Lots of water fights, rollerblading, biking, trying to make tree houses, and playing on trampolines. They've learned some social lessons as well with some mild kerfuffles, but they make up quickly. It's so good for them to learn these skills. Last week I even found a makeshift hammer in the backyard made from a stick, a rock, and copious amounts of tape. So they're even learning how to build primitive tools. Everything a summer should be. With all these sports, and especially since we've worked so hard to get ready for the concert, we've all kind of slacked off on music a bit, but we're looking for new songs for everyone to learn and trying to get back into the habit of practicing. My oldest son has set a goal to learn the lead guitar parts for Weezer's entire Blue album, so he's working hard on that. The other thing I've slacked off on is screen time. In next week's episode, Andrea Davis talks about trying to find an approach between anything goes and overmanaging screen time. And this summer, I'm definitely leaning more to the anything goes side than ever before, mostly because I've just got so much going on. The younger kids have watched more TV than I'd like, and the older ones have definitely played a bit too much Minecraft. When I do manage their screen time, I use Circle to control Wi-Fi access, so I can set off times for the TVs and time limits for Wi-Fi on the computers. And of course, we use the screen time apps to set limits we use the Screen Time app to set limits for my teenagers' phones. But just because we have the means to set limits doesn't mean I've been good at enforcing them. I'm really excited to share Andrea's screen time tips next week, and hopefully I'll even get it together and implement more of them. Chores are always a challenge in the summer just because there's so many people home messing everything up. We started the summer with one of our most successful family experiments yet. I first made a list of all the things they eventually need to learn to do to take care of themselves, divided into categories like hygiene, food, cleanup, etc., and I had them go through and mark whether they were a manager, worker, or helper for each task. I did a shorter version of this last winter and talked about it in my last experiments episode, but this one was more comprehensive. It was such a good exercise in self-awareness and helped the kids set goals for the next things they wanted to start managing. But one of the best parts is that it helps me make all my invisible work visible to the rest of my family. Anything that they're not managing is something that I have to manage. So I made my own master list of all the things that I manage. For example, they all now realize that one of the jobs I have to do is manage toothbrushing, and I even have to keep track of how often some of them shower. I'm almost done with the second list we'll be going through together, the family responsibility list, and I'm going to work with my graphic designer to create versions of both to share. I'll have them ready in the fall with a podcast episode to go into more detail. I'm really excited about them. It's been working so great for us. The next experiment is summer reading. I adore reading to my kids in the summer. Last year was our best year yet for this because there wasn't much going on, but even this busy year, I've picked individual chapter books to read one-on-one with my 3 middle kids, and my youngest and I are working through our shelves of picture books. He reads one to me, and I read one to him. I love making this an individual thing because I can handpick books for their interests, and reading is such a good way to start meaningful conversations. Claire and I have already finished the Ichabod, which we both loved, and we're halfway through The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. Abel and I are reading all 13, The Incredible Cave Rescue of the Thai Boys Soccer Team, and Miles and I are reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. One accidental experiment this summer was becoming a plumber. I found a leak in my laundry room and demoed part of the wall till I found the source. After several trips to the hardware store trying to get the right tools for the job, I replaced the leaky joint before any long-term damage was done. Let me tell you, there were all kinds of experiments going on during that project. The last thing I'll mention is less of an experiment than a super fun tradition. This year will be our 6th annual Tour de Taco. Each year we invite 15 to 20 couples to ride our bikes from our house to a taco shop downtown, about 7 miles. We eat tacos at the park and then ride back to our house for dessert. It's one of our favorite events of the summer every year. So that's plenty of experiments for now, although I'm sure we'll try many more before the summer is over. Some successful, some not so much. But of course, we'll learn from them either way. Thank you for listening to the How She Moms podcast. If you like it, tell a friend. The bigger the community, the more ideas. There are lots of ways you can add your ideas to the How She Moms community. We have a Facebook group where we share ideas about upcoming topics and help each other solve problems we're facing in motherhood. You can also follow How She Moms on Instagram for quick tips and ideas. And you can go to howshemoms.com where you'll find transcripts of episodes and lots of other great resources. Special thanks to my mom, Susan Singley, for recording my theme music. She played this song all the time when I was growing up, and to me, it's the soundtrack of motherhood.